So, hi. Welcome to the first weekly recap video. I'm using this method for all my tracking. If you want deeper explanation for this, just watch the first video. It should explain everything. It was a very, very red day on Friday. Many will say thanks to Trump. I will say, well, for the general market, it was overdue. But, well, funny thing is, except of one stock, I don't have to change any tracker. Nothing. So let's start with plug. Just for the overview, because it's a recap video. This was your all-time high, your big C. And the theory is that this all is just your higher low, this whole thing. Why isn't that A and B? Just because this is lower than this and B is not lower than A. Why isn't this higher low and A? Because again, A is not lower than higher low. So this is your higher low. For the bullish tracking, just from the beginning again, you come from EC, lower high, midpoint T, V, higher low. First one is finished. Second one is starting with little a, little b, little c, same again. This time with V under A, finished. Second one is starting with A, B, and the whole thing again with a V and A. So for the bullish tracking, we look on the daily, and that would mean this here was your T, this here right now was your A, and your next target would be 31. I said for the bearish tracking, for the bullish tracking, I don't want to break this one, I think, 279, and we didn't. We bounced, and we didn't. I'm still not absolutely convinced that we are bullish yet. But let's say for the bullish tracking, in my opinion, this was your A peak, and you are doing the pullback right now, bounce and go to B. Levels you don't want to break is you don't want to break 217, or for absolutes you don't want to break 217. For a bullish position, I would be already bearish if we break 278, because you just break that at the uptrend. So, but yeah, for confirmation for the bullish side, just go over 471. Then you're bullish and go. There could still be a case where you say you bounce here, you break out of the trend, and you still do the retest, and we go. For the bearish tracking, it would mean this was your T. You're already in the pullback, and you will pull back and make a new low, which make this V under A wrong. This somewhere in here would be your new V under A and new high low. Price target for A stays the same, price target for B stays the same. And the only question then would be, are you doing a higher low to this? So somewhere in this range, or a new all-time low. Because we are tracking this as a higher low, I am pretty convinced we will do a higher low of this. So we are not allowed to fall under this. Yeah. Okay. FuelSR, nothing changed for the tracking. Just again, coming from your high, low high, midpoint T. V, finished, high low, ABC, same thing again. We did our V and A. We are finished with our high low. And that we look at the daily. And right now, I still not convinced that this was your C. So, and no, still not convinced this was a C, and still not convinced that this was already your A peak. I'm still thinking this is just an uptrend, and you will come up to your A peak, to your pullback, pullback, and then you go to your B target of 132. If this crash on Friday, I said I don't want to break 735, and we didn't. You have to expect, I mean, SPY, NASDAQ, IWM, Dow Jones, they really knifed down hard, which is very interesting. I will show that too. And for FuelSale, nothing changed. For a really crash, I would have expected, I don't know, 20, 35, 40%, nothing. So right now, my opinion on the bullish tracking, nothing changed. If it breaks 735, we will look again. Right now, nothing changed. For confirmation, bullish confirmation, just go above 1147. And that would be a confirmation for bullish tracking. For bad buff and beyond, I have to say, I'm getting more and more bearish. Just for confirmation, to repeat everything, FEV, high low, ABC top, low high, midpoint. And for the bullish tracking, this was it. We already did our A peak, already finished with our A pullback, and your next target would be 36, and then pullback, and then C. For the bearish tracking, we did already T. You would be already in the downtrend. Your V under A, this would be wrong. And for the bullish bearish tracking, you would make a higher low to this. For the bearish, you make a new low. What this would look like would be what I already showed. Would be this. You're coming from your M, coming up, making your M or W. This is your T and your knife. Same thing we did here. M, break down, come up, M or W, T, and knife. I said yesterday, or on Friday, I don't want to break 872, and you wicked under it. We came up again, but as I already explained in the last video, many people will say now this was just a wick, or because of SPY, IWM, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, was volatility, blah 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 blah. I don't want to see that. This is for me a clear break. But to have both ways. So levers, because never be 100%. If you break 70.83, this is for me 95% confirmation downside. If you bounce next week over 1262, the bearish tracking is dead. I don't think it will be that. I think this will go down, but always have an order. For grab, only one thing changed. Again, C, low, high, MT, B, high, low. And you already did your A peak. And after that, you would do your B between $9 and $11 and C. I was the opinion A pullback was already finished. Well, was wrong. So, yeah, was wrong. There is no, again, this was just volatility, blah, 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 blah. No, it was just wrong. So, for the worst case, I would think we will just go to this trend again, bounce, and next target is your B. Or because I'm kind of expecting a market reversal next week, maybe in the next, till end of October at least. You bounce already here. And this was just your bounce level. I already said I don't really have an alternative for this. If you break under 483, I will redo the whole tracking because then something is wrong. But right now, still looking bullish. Nothing changed. For Blink, again, from the beginning, you're coming from your C, M, T, B, finished, A, B, C. Then we look at our tracking again. You have your C, low, high, midpoint, T. And we were talking about, was that already our A peak? This one, or not? I am still convinced, or let's say pretty convinced, this wasn't, or maybe is not your A peak. Because we're still just in an uptrend. We perfectly hit the uptrend right now. If this was a peak, the pullback is finished. Next target is 26. If this wasn't your A peak, you just will climb this ladder, come up, retest. Maybe even doing this retest, but I already said this. I don't expect this. And then you go to B. For the bearish alternative, which I think I also showed, is this was your A peak. Your breakout peak is already in, and now you're doing the breakout retest. It's still possible. For any alternative, if you break this trend line, I mean, of course you can do it with a little bit, because it depends on the daily, or if you perfectly align it to the most hit points. So a little bit breaking is okay. But let's say you break under $1, then again, we do the breakout, we do the tracking again. But right now, looks fucking bullish. SAVA, again, nothing to change here. We start, we have our V, A pullback, B pullback, C, lower high, midpoint T, we gap down, we find our V and A, we did our high low, and your next target would be gap fill or your T point A around 42 and your B point at 51. For the alternative, this would be again somewhere in here as you see. You come down, make your V under A, and then you go, or you make a new low. I will show why. But right now, perfectly bounced at the uptrending trend line. And again, 10% looks much, but for a big move, which SPY and IWM Nasdaq and Dow Jones made, this is just nothing. It really is just nothing. For the bearish tracking, I show that side by side again. This would be now, and you would have two possibilities in my opinion. The first one would be your T, coming down, find your V, and this little section here would be this section here, and you would be in this line, and you would go a little bit higher where the gap started, and this would be between $5 and $6 ish. You would reject there, come down to your V and A or to a new low, and then the next month you're doing just nothing, small uptrend, and then you gap fill. What I tend to is, this is September 20. You gap down, you find your V, you have your A, you have your B, you have your B, you have the downtrend, and right now you would be in this candle here. And you would be somewhere in here, in my opinion. So the next weeks, at least this year, the gap fill should be there. Of course, this is, as I already said, a 100% risk play. It won't show any confirmation. All the gap fills are after hours pre-market. Risk it or miss it. That's the only thing I can say to this. Still, I think, in my opinion, no financial advice, you will gap fill till at latest March. If you are doing the small V&A or the new all tableau, we have to see. If we go to 550, reject there and see strong movement to the downside, yeah, then it will just take longer. But yeah, from Friday, nothing changed. AI, the thing. We start again with, you come from a high, from C, lower high, midpoint, same again, B, A, B, C, stupid C, because only $1 higher than B, and big, very big B. You come down, LMT. For the bullish tracking, we said that this was your T, this was your A. You already did your V and A, your high low. Your next target would be 30. Your B target would be 36, and then we talk later. On Friday, we came down. I said I don't want to break 1639 to be still bullish. And we didn't. So for the bullish tracking, what I want to see, just a normal bounce. Break it, retest, A pullback, B. So right now nothing changed. Just if for the old you break 1691, then I'm again, I'm taking the bearish version more seriously, because that would mean you're coming down. Most likely we'll do a high low to this one. You make a new V on A, high low, come up, breakout retest, A pullback, go. The only thing which would change, of course, I mean, yeah, a new V and A, a new high low. For price targets, only the A, which would be 20, and your B would be 36. So let's see what happens next week. For GNS, nothing really changed. Again, I mean, this surprised me the most, I think, on Friday, because we only went down 1%. I mean, okay, we ran in the morning, but still only 1% down. For the repetition, yeah, we see lower high, M, T, B is finished, high low is finished, and A peak is already also finished. And your next target would be $80-ish. I said I still think that the A pullback is finished. And your next target would be B. For the alternative, it's not finished. The A pullback is not finished. And this would be something like this. And you would look for one little lower low than this. In that case, I would maybe breakout retest, high low, and go. Yeah. My targets were you shouldn't break $44 and last line of defense would be 30 cents. After that, I already showed in the last video, this wouldn't be A, this would be a small c and big C, and yeah, the company is finished. But since Friday, since Friday, nothing changed. I also think we could get in the next week, on the end of October, a massive market reversal. The news, of course, will be Trump is talking to China again, and because of that, in that second, everyone is buying the dip, which they already did, in my opinion. But well, where is he? So till now, still bullish. For OCGN, also nothing changed. Again, we're coming from EC, midpoint T, V, big one finished, high low, ABC, lower high, M, T, V, B and A. We would be right now in our high low. Your next target would be $70 for A peak, and for B peak 177. And again, if you watch the last videos, I will go out here because of here will be a pullback, and then if you bounce, it would be bullish again, but there's also a chance for the alt that you just done and go low. For what happened on Friday, just nothing. I can't even say V, high, low, A, B. So if this is our small b, the maximum I would expect is a pullback to here. Sorry, and then you go. Don't have to be, because this is the tiny tracking. We could just bounce and just go. So yeah, nothing changed on the tracking. FFAI also, and I expected with a market crash way more, but okay. Again, CLMT, V, high, low. Unrealistic price targets, I don't repeat it today. And your normal price targets would be for A44, for B11, and for C. I will just, so people don't get so this would be the expectation for C. What did we do on Friday? For the small tracking, you have your V, A, B, C, M, T. And if true, this was your VRA, and this was your high low. I know I said, what did I say? I said 136 for the high low, but as long as we don't break 128, still high low. It was really, 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 really close. Right now, the high low is still holding. So for bullish tracking, you would still come up, breakout retest, B, C, and as I already mentioned, FFA isn't doing that. You're doing V, high, low, go. V, high, low, go. So this would also be V, high, low, go. It would be very funny if we getting next week, Monday, the market reversal, and this was your V, high, low, and go. But we will have to see. For the bearish version, yeah, we coming lower than this, and then there is no if then or volatility and maybe and blah blah blah. No, you would come down, find your new V under a new high low, and then you go. If you break this, or the same thing is if you're doing double bottom here. Then no, then you still need to find a new V under a. Even if you would just do this. So even if you would go to 122, then you're doing a higher low, and then the try again. But V under a V is not a double bottom. It just isn't. But right now, higher low is holding. For the alternative, it would look be something like this, and V would be right now here. And the next thing would be something like this. But right now, still bullish. Nothing changed. Bull. And that's the only stock I had to change. But only one thing. Thing is, you come from C, lower high, midpoint T, V under A finished, higher low. This is your A. And we had the V under A here. And we were tracking this for higher low. And we said A pullback finished. Perfect. Next round to B. Good. What's wrong? So, because 5 minutes, I think it was 5 minutes before market, or 1 minute, I nearly didn't come through. I added to my position. I think it was here. It was 1 minute before market close somewhere. Because, okay, now this is our BLNK. And it's still higher than here. Perfectly. This is still our higher low. This is our A pullback wasn't doing a new low. So, and in after hours we bounced massively. So right now, what we are looking is, we have to do it on the 4. Yeah. Right now we are looking, we will come up. Coming down a little bit, doing the higher low, which is holding this time. Then A, B, and we're going to your big B. For how this would look like would be this right now. And the thing is, if you see this repetition, you sometimes see things you didn't saw before. And here is absolutely the same. If you look at this, also on the 4 hour, because I explained yesterday, you can also track this with symmetry tracking, where you just say, this is a midpoint, you take this tracking, flip it to the right side, but you read it from right to left, which would mean this here is the same like this here. You're coming up, you're doing a pullback, the A pullback, you're coming up, and you're doing the pullback. And this pullback here is the same like this pullback here. The only thing is, this is way quicker. And the next thing we would expect is this. The funny thing is, because I looked at this today, and you read this from right to left, and this you read just normal. And if you look at it, you have your peak, you fall, you have your peak, you fall, you come up again, but you make a lower high, you drop, and then, yeah, perfect, you're finished. But then you're doing one little lower low, and it's the same thing here. You come up, and then you did one lower low. That's why I think right now there's a very big chance that this here was our V&A. With now, for confirmation, we're waiting for higher, which is holding, and then we go. For SPY, the last thing for SPY, why I think we will get a nice reversal next week or the week after. It's just, I will say that up front if someone is asking. No, except this time, I won't give every day prediction for SPY, just because I'm doing that myself, but it's way more not kind of difficult, but way more time consuming, and way more where you have to adjust on the fly because you just have way more movement in this. If you have a lot of volume in it, so only for maybe I'm doing sometime live streams, yeah, then it would be possible. But for a video for once a day, no. But for the overview, it's just there are two possibilities. First of all, right now, do I even get that on the picture? Yeah. Right now, you could say this is your A, this is still your B, and you're waiting for your C. Just zoom down. I'm not thinking about $1,700 for SPY, but just for the we're still in B, in the big B. If we zoom in a little bit, this, if this was COVID, yeah, no, this wasn't COVID. Here's COVID, but this was the crash in April. The same thing. You had your V and A, you had your high low, which is here. You had your A, you had your B, but you're still waiting for your C. That would be the old. Just in case, if this was C, just saying, if this was C, we are talking about completely different levels. Because this would be our V&A 573. That would be still 12% down. I don't think we got C yet. Just saying. And then we go even more zoomed in. And for this, you had your August crash. After the August crash, your high low, your A, your B. And this would last one on Wednesday. On Wednesday, this was your little C. And I expected a pullback. My pullback target was V and A, so in this range. What I didn't expect is that it was just one candle. I have to agree, I didn't expect it just a one candle. But the funny thing is, yeah. So, if this is true, we did just in one candle L, M, and T in one day, which would be fucking crazy. And the next thing would be a V and just hello and ABC. And this could just be a fucking quick and big reversal. We will see. If that wasn't it, I already showed this was. And one thing to the bullish, that would mean you have your V, higher low, A, B, and your C would be again higher than your last peak. So, or you're doing a lower peak. So something under this. But this would still be a fucking reversal. And if we say with normal analytics, for example, you don't have any resistance points here because it's just one candle. If you get any signs of uptrend, this will be quick. I think this will be fucking quick. If this was middle C, again, I think still we would get a bounce. But we would reject somewhere in here. This would be like Spice always doing a boarding match. Coming up. Fall even harder. Coming up. Fall. Making B under A. High, low, and then we go. For what happens after that, I think we get one last push for SPY to early next year or something like that. And then we are talking about something completely different. Because these things are only little corrections on SPY. But the thing is, if we are tracking for something bigger, but let's see it. Just one thing. Your A pullback was kind of 4%. Your B pullback was kind of 4%. The little pullbacks in between were 2%. This was 2%. All on Friday we did 4%, like A pullback and B pullback. I think it will be an interesting Monday and next week. But okay. Let's see what happens. So this was the weekly recap video. So I won't make a video on Monday. I mean, maybe if something crazy happens in pre-market because of the recap video today. But I will for sure make a video on Tuesday, and we should get a lot of answers then. So thank you for watching. See you next time.